So hello, I'm Nicola. This is the next model in our life. So we'll talk about AI in our life in school or whatever it is. And most of these are some examples. Some of them are reality, some of them will be soon maybe will not be reality. So we'll start from education because most of us are teachers and we can use AI in different ways. So the first way we can use AI is personalization. Every student is different. They have different needs. Maybe the subject is the same, but the student is different. So we can use data and analytics and AI systems to adjust the curriculum to their needs. We can use it for tutoring too. Again, the same scenario. Same class, different students with a different level of understanding, of speed of learning, and everything. We can use it even for grading. Maybe the students this day is ill, something happened at home. We cannot grade them because this day is bad for him. We can use AI, and AI can tell us, yeah, the student is good the last 7 days or last month. Today is something different from him, so we can take this in consideration and make the grade even better. We can use it for feedback. It's very hard to get feedback from students and from other teachers. So we can use AI to get a better picture of the course. Do we need to improve something? Do we need to remove something? What we need to do? So we can use it for feedback from students too. Most of the time students don't want or cannot tell us if was the class is good or bad, did they understand something. But if you have data from one whole year, maybe two, we can change the course by every student. So this is very good. Adaptive learning is almost the same. We can adapt our curriculum, our textbooks to the needs of the students or maybe to the needs of the other teachers. We have assistive technology that can help us with the kids with special needs because they're even more different than us and other students. We can use it about early childhood education. Kids are different ages, they have different interests, so we can develop some systems to know what kids want to do. Data and learning analytics, this is, yeah, we can use large sums of data to predict what will happen, maybe what we need to change, to improve. So the next thing is my favorite, scheduling. To schedule the whole year is absolutely, it's hell, total nightmare. So AI can help us schedule our classes, the student classes, the whole school management can be held by AI, which is very good. Facilities, we can manage facilities. We have this problem here with the IT cabinets. We don't know who is there, when he will leave. Is there anyone there at all? So we can manage the power of the facilities too. We know that in this room there is no one, so we don't need electricity here. Now we have 25 people, the AC will start running, it will adjust the temperature and so on. So there are some applications that is about writing. AI can help students to understand their skills and to be even better. Another of my favorite things is how to divide kids at groups. It's very fun task for the most of the teachers and for the kids too. So AI can help us by the behavior of the kids' previous lessons, so maybe the whole year, to divide them better so they can work together better, they can understand better, and we can do our work even easier. So the facilitation is almost the same as the above one. Intelligent moderation, well, they can help us to cooperate and communicate with the kids because we cannot do everything in class. The environment in class is changing almost all the time. Everyone needs something or wants something, and you cannot do this alone. So we can use virtual reality. There was COVID times, there was study at home. We can use virtual reality to make school at home. You're in your classroom, everyone has avatars, everything is the same as you're at school. You can even go around the classroom, you can do some things. So why not? Yeah, the proving of course quality, this is the same as the previous. We can use many analytics and data to improve everything that we do at school. The scheduling and predictive analysis, well, we can predict when something will happen, well, when we will have more classes, less classes, the personnel to be here, to not to be here. So custom textbooks, this is something that I really want to have because every kid is different and the level of understanding is very different. For some kids, something can be easier or can be harder. So if the textbooks can adapt to the student's need, it will be very good. Virtual humans, yeah, we can use chatbots, we can use digital twins. This is the representation of something, and we can make some examples or run some predictions there. So we simulate the classroom full of students, bad day, good day, fire drill, and something else, and we can have almost good model what to do if something happens in the safe environment, because it's not very healthy to leave the room on fire. The game-based learning, this is something that I'm with both hands up for this. Gamification is very good for learning. Well, it's not the cure, but it's good to engage the students because they know that there's some reward, there's some moving on because of the gamification, and I'm up for it. Machine translation, this is, we can use it to translate some text. Not everything is in English. We speak Bulgarian, so some terminology in Bulgarian is awful, especially in the IT field. It's not very good. So we can use some of these adaptive translation techniques. Empowering the disabled, yet again, everyone is different. Everyone have different needs. So we can use AI to make it better for everyone. Well, this was the good part. Now, not so good part. Everything is expensive. AI is very expensive. Not everyone wants to have a computer in their room, wants to have everything with the computer. So that's something to take. Addiction is another very bad thing. I time myself sometimes get myself to sit on YouTube and next video, and nothing. And 3 or 4 hours are gone. And I don't know even what I watched, what I learned. Do I do something? So this is very important. Work of personal connections. Well, we also the COVID and the stay-at-home school. Some of the kids it was not very good for the kids. Some examples of depression and the environment at home, it's not the best thing. But for some students, it was time to flourish. No one around you, you are alone, no one picking on you, you can make your mind, you can answer the questions, you can even work better. So there is something in the both ways. Well, unemployment, yeah, someday maybe AI will replace me or replace all of us, maybe, but it will open new jobs. So someone have to teach the AI what to do. And in the classroom, good what to the AI. It's very dynamic thing. So efficient decision making here, the same. We make the rules, AI make the rules too, but we can think about different things. So who will be? And the loss of information, well, if the server dies, and then what? Everything is gone. Maybe the backups are gone. So this is a risk. Not that the paper sources are very good, but there is something. So these are examples of some AI software that is already developed and used in classrooms. There is a links to the software. So if you want, after that, you get the presentation and you can see it and maybe you can use something. And it's for math, for languages, for trainings. So now we go to the automotive, the next big thing. So artificial intelligence is very big in the automotive industries, and everything is supported by it. We know the autonomous driving and the autopilot, but it's not so auto and it's very good pilot. So there's 5 levels of automation and autonomy in the cars. This is the presentation, but we will go through all of that. So the first level is when the car just assists you. You need to drive it. You need to be in the car. You need to touch the steering wheel. You need to operate the pedals. And this is the most common. Almost every one of us have something like this in the car. Maybe assist braking, maybe something to tell you, do you have someone near you? Or at some point, we have something like this. The next level is when driver assistance systems. So it can alert you, it can apply brakes, it can change the road that you go through. And some examples are the Tesla autopilot, but I know the autopilot is not very good term. And maybe in Europe, Tesla should not use autopilot because it's misleading, maybe, as I know. And they have nowadays 2 very interesting crashes, motorcycles, absolutely almost the same motorcycles in the dark highway, and 2 Tesla kills the motorcycles drivers. Yeah, it didn't recognize them. Maybe the lights was too old, something happens, but they make this thing and want to make it better. And as I know, Tesla removed the radar system from the cars and now use only cameras and sensors because it's what cheaper and some other stuff. So it's not very good. The next level, level 3, is the car can be autonomous in traffic. So you're stuck in traffic, you can release the car and the car will be managing the traffic, apply brakes, accelerate and do most of the things for you. And I will show you one video. This is how this made this. And it represents what we can do. So we have some problem with video, but
Share this sound.
yeah, the sound shared. I hope so. Check. We'll see.
So if this person is inherent, the artificial intelligence system or the fiscal can pay the front car €1 and then it pass.
Yeah, maybe.
The transfer can be done automatically to the bank account to the drivers.
Well, someday.
I heard this will happen. What people are worried is to make sure the programming in the car could take me to my mother-in-law, not to take them
To the cliff.
by mistake.
Yeah.
So we need some security system.
This is the next thing, the facial recognition and the emotional recognition in the car. So you go to your mother-in-law, the car knows that you are angry and ready for a fight, and it puts you relaxing music, takes you to the countryside, maybe something to drink.
Massage on the chair.
Yeah, massage. Everything.
Will it know if my mother-in-law sits on my car, it will take the chair away from me?
Yeah. Yes. This is the next of the presentation. Well, maybe some poison. There are ways. So this is the level 4, and this is when the car can make most of the decisions without the driver, or in some of the cases that it needs the driver to just to be safe. And we have another video. Does not play. So this is the mother-in-law car.
We have been doing driverless testing in Phoenix since 2017. We have done it at small scale with a few riders. But early fall, we have really begun to slowly and responsibly ramp up this service. It can get matched with a fully driverless car where there is no trained driver in the car at all. We have been at this for over 10 years now on public roads, driven for 10 million plus miles. We have done 10 billion miles of simulation, and the simulation is not only things that we have seen on the road, not only synthetic scenarios we have created, but also situations that we have made more adversarial than what we observed. For example, inserting cyclists and motorcyclists into a scene. And through a combination of multiple methods, we have reached experience and confidence to be able to do this.
Hi, this is Ina with Denver Rider Support. I just wanted to quickly welcome you to your driverless ride and let you know this ride will be free. If you have any questions or concerns, you can press the help button in front of you at any time to connect with Rider Support. If you have any questions for me while I'm on the line?
No, I think I'm just sort of taking in the experience right now.
Okay, great. Well, hope you have a great trip. And again, the help button is in front of you if you have any questions, okay?
Thank you so much.
We're constantly monitoring data both from the test driver cars, the simulation, as well as our driverless cars and our ongoing variety of testing. Anytime we find information that requires us to revisit a few assumptions, we will always put safety first and take the requisite actions. There are a couple of areas that we have to pay special attention to. For example, when law enforcement or first responders have to interact with a completely empty car. So that's an entire area that we designed and tested, but also collaborated with first responders in the local area. Tested, for example, whether or not we are able to detect all kinds of sirens and flashing lights, but also how a police officer in an emergency can take over the car if they need to.
It was a little bit more like sort of a classic design problem when we had all of this information. We had to create a hierarchy of that information. So what's most important, and then how does color map to what's most important? And so when we see like nearby pedestrians or cyclists, those are rendered as white sort of laser points on a dark background because the contrast there is the highest and they stand out the most. There were some practical considerations as well. We really want to go for a lean back experience when you're in the car. So we want to make sure that that UI isn't in your face and distracting. And so that's why there's a dark color scheme to it and the colors are a bit subdued. It's taken years really to sort of understand the vast number of scenarios out there where people have different information needs. So I might be going to work in the morning, there's no construction, I'm coming home, there now is a construction site that's popped up, and does the car understand that? So again, we're trying to reinforce the car does understand those changing road conditions. And we've been pleasantly surprised. It's one of the examples, unprompted in our user research, that people often cite. The fact that like, hey, there are 14 traffic cones on the side of the road here, and I can see those in the passenger interface, and they're very impressed that the, again, to that level of detail around what the car is picking up. Cool. Yeah. Thank God.
All that learning we want to bring into the product as we're learning and refine our flows, refine our passenger screens, refine our rider support, but also in terms of how the product experiences. For example, any feedback they may have about how the routing is, their preferences on which side of street they would like to be dropped off on, if they want to be dropped off right in front of Walmart or slightly off it where folks aren't just exiting with all of their stuff from Walmart. So on a variety of these, I think there's product refinements we continue to do, and we're in a unique position to do that because we're not just asking users what they want, we're actually seeing them in the fabric of their daily lives. We are responsibly and thoughtfully ramping this up. So right now that ramp up has already begun. And as we are able to incorporate all of this feedback, I see it as the natural progression that more and more of the rides will be on completely driverless cars.
So the fifth level is the full automation. The car doesn't need you, or it needs you, but you just need to point it the way you need to be. So in your case, if you have to go to the mother-in-law, you sit back in the car with something to drink, relaxing music, and the car drives you there.
Wondering also if another car hits this car by mistake, what happens? What is the reaction of the car?
The car will call 911 or the...
It will stop it for the police?
Yeah, yeah. Or medical assistance or something else. And this is the inherent sensing, the next thing, that is built around the driver, to know the situation of the driver. Is he angry? Is he intoxicated? Is he sleeping or going to be asleep soon? And it can personalize the car by the driver. So it recognizes that it's me. It can adjust the seats, the temperature, the music, everything.
I haven't seen yet. I was wondering why we haven't done it. This big. How with one button you can change the left steering car to a right steer. I can see the steering moving to the right, the pedals hiding, and then the other pedals coming up. I can make the same car right.
And use it everywhere.
Yeah, because we have a problem, especially for Cyprus. We drive on the right, on the left, but we have the steering on the right. So I cannot find a German car to use the Cyprus. And this way, if it's after eating, I can use a car regardless of which country I drive. So if I drive from France to UK, I can change my car
Yeah.
from left to right, right?
Yes,
You thought about this or not yet?
not yet. But this is not very good for us because we buy cars like this because they're cheaper here. So you drive with the wrong section for less money. Well, maybe you're little dangerous than before. But who cares?
But the problem is when I go to McDonald's, it will not be convenient. It's on the left. Because I cannot pick up.
Maybe some device, they have devices that you can reach and grab your order.
Yeah, I cannot speak to the microphone either to make my order.
Well, some telescopic can. With
But it can
speaker and AI to
One
know
button
that you're on the wrong section. Maybe the McDonald's will move.
Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge.
Yeah.
What we're doing now.
Absolutely.
Use imagination.
So this, AI can be used in driver monitoring systems, as I told you. And I think I have video of this. No, in a second. So the system can monitor your biometrics, absolutely everything about you, even your age. So if your kid wants to steal your car, the car will say, no. Wait a couple of years and then, or maybe you are angry and you sit in the car will tell you no, go off, and then we'll start to go somewhere.
And also smoking will be prohibited.
What?
Smoking in the car maybe.
Hope so. Or even drinking. I think in Australia is mandatory to have alcohol tracking device in the car, and you take a test, and after that you can start your car. Because they have many alcohol-related crashes, and the government said, okay.
They have already the sensors for alcohol.
Yeah,
Once you step in the car will not allow you to drive.
to drive, yeah. Or if you're minor, or
This is actually very good.
yeah, absolutely. Or if the car know you're angry and you step on the pedal, it can take that from you. So this is very good when it works. So it can, follow your emotions, follow your eyes, your mouth. Where do you look at the moment? If you look the other side, the car can talk to you or may make some adjustments, and it depends. And this is the video about facial expressions and driver monitoring. As you see, the car may make decisions around your happiness, anger, disgust, fear. Maybe you feel some shock or don't want to go there, and the car knows, he'll make this face again. Let's change the road.
There are people who have an ugly face always.
It's AI. If you adapt, you know when you're less angrier, and you know.
The rising cost of petrol, carbon emissions, tax, and insurance. These are just
Then put them as a permanent smile.
Yeah, but something like this may be very good in the classroom, so you know what is the mental condition of your students, or maybe the classroom know when you have bad day and students to be aware because something there on their way. Yeah, it will be fun. The classroom, go take a drink. Classes will be over soon. So occupant monitoring is the same as the driver monitoring. The car can examine or monitor what's around you, and if there's a fight in the car even, the car can tell you, hey, cool off, stay down and change the music or drive you to a secluded location to finish the fight. So this is very good, and we can use something like this in classes at school, and not only at school, at work, everywhere. And this was my part. I was very fast, and we can discuss the things that we see. Can we use something like this in the classroom? Do we want something like this in the classrooms?
Do they need a system to understand where they are? If you are in the middle of nowhere, because some people in USA they have streets in the middle of nowhere without any sign and lane, how they recognize?
GPS. We have GPS almost everywhere.
Will it go by itself to find the main road, or you have to drive it to the main road?
Well, it depends. Maybe if everything is mapped there and
Do they
GPS know
recognize
where
a
you
tree?
are.
If there is a tree, do they see a tree?
Can you repeat?
If there is a tree in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere, will they recognize it? So
Maybe.
The problem is, I was in a Volvo, I tried, was in the Volvo summer, and I was driving the car. And when there were some roadworks, it didn't recognize the lane, the yellow lanes. But that the car, with the car, you have to keep your hands on. Otherwise, it takes off the navigator. The system requires you to keep your hands on the wheel. And it
Yeah.
was asking because I saw when
Bulgaria-
they're working on.
Yeah, in Bulgaria, the road signs and everything is recommended, and not mandatory. So the cars don't know what to do. They apply brakes, they speed up. In Bulgaria, is different kind of.
I think what you show, and many other examples like this, would be useful to use in the schools in order to show how artificial intelligence can do the part of that.
Yeah,
So this we can make students sensitive on the topic and make them interested.
yeah, we can adjust
They are not going
the
to understand the technology, we don't even understand the technology behind this, but we understand that our life will become better. With this
Yeah,
different,
with the schedules, with the grading, it will free.
maybe safer also.
Yeah, most of the times.
We need more of this. I mean, this is already good up here on the cars, but there are other type of
Well,
applications like
most of the things from the automotive industry can be applied at schools, homes, for everyone, just on a different scale.
actually, we can ask the students, for me, it would be to ask my students to discover one application and present it to this fellow student
Yeah, why not?
and make it a communication activity.
Yes. There's so many open source software with facial recognition that are almost easy to set up, so you can make different things in class.
You as a teacher can create your own YouTube channel and
Yeah.
ask your students to upload the same devices.
Yeah, we can do that.
And then you use it in the every year.
So my colleague will continue.
Hello everyone, once again, for those of you who forgot, because most of you probably did, my name is Muccio, and I will continue the same presentation, talking about the IoT, as you can see here, which is also known as the Internet of Things. Let me just move this a little bit. So the Internet of Things is essentially a lot of technologies operating together. Technologies that have sensors that are communicating with one another, for example, cameras connected to computers, connected to any other type of sensor that could possibly exist, that are constantly communicating and receiving and sending information to a computer. And it has actually quite a lot of, AI has quite a lot of applications in the Internet of Things. Just a second. Okay, so currently, nowadays, in most of the countries, security camera footage is typically reviewed after an incident has occurred, after a burglary, for example, or something else. But if we use the Internet of Things, and if we use artificial intelligence, we can do quite a useful thing and review the footage in real time. If we review the footage in real time, and if there is a block of code that is running to figure out whether there's a burglary, and if there's a sensor, for example, for a thief coming to steal something or committing any type of crime, the Internet of Things can help us realize this in the exact moment and take some particular action to end whatever that person might be doing that's against the law. And here is a short video of something happening in the country, but this is not a full video, so I'm just going to paste it on YouTube. I don't know if there's some problem.
Facial recognition has become a hot button issue in the U.S. The controversial practice was recently banned in San Francisco, but few people realize that many police departments have adopted artificial intelligence, using it to analyze video surveillance footage, which can track objects and people.
I've taken the 8,215 objects and reduced it to 80 objects.
Other new technologies like sensors, drones equipped with augmented reality capabilities, and real-time crime sensors are also making their way into police departments in the U.S. All that technology used for the right purposes and the right reasons, I think is good.
So while, no, I don't want to be mugged, I want to be in a community that's safe. I don't think expanding surveillance is the way to do that.
There is just a lot of technology being acquired that's collecting information on everyone, regardless of whether you're involved in a crime or not. And I don't want to end up in a version of America where people are afraid to do things in life because of being watched all the time. To understand how police departments use these new technologies, which makes law enforcement much more powerful, we traveled to New Orleans. For the past year and a half, the city's Office of Homeland Security has been operating a real-time crime center. The city's installed over 400 cameras in hotspots, from the French Quarter to outlying districts. It also pulls in camera feeds from over 150 businesses and private homeowners. The system screens all incoming calls for service, including 911 calls, which automatically activate the network of cameras.
All of these cameras would spin up automatically in the software when any incident is created within a tenth of a mile of these three blocks.
So your eyes can be there before an officer's eyes.
Sure, all of our cameras are paying zoom cameras 30 times after this.
And you can very easily rewind back and also see it happening.
Sure, it could obviously associate with the criminal matter, we go through historical footage and provide that information to the officers.
Some police officers in New Orleans have quickly embraced this access to recorded surveillance cameras.
That's pretty well covered by cameras.
Yes, cameras on every intersection.
Paul Johnson's been with the New Orleans police force for 6 years. He's a night shift detective in the French Quarter.
That camera right there, it's hiding in plain sight right there.
Correct, yes. This particular camera actually is a 60-year-old latest case of fire a couple months ago. We had a shooting at this very intersection at 4:30 in the morning. The gentleman got shot, claimed to be the victim. We watched the video surveillance, went back and it showed that actually he was actually shooting at the young man first. So it kind of, helped us exonerate the guy we were looking for.
And if you didn't have the camera, do you think you would have known the truth?
No, absolutely not.
So on. I'm not gonna play the whole video because it's long. It's pretty long, and I think we can all get the idea anyway. So the thing is that the Internet of Things can be very useful, but at the same time, we can see from this video that it raises quite a lot of ethical questions as well, which is pretty important. And whenever we look at the pros of artificial intelligence, we should always consider the cons as well.
Can I interrupt you at this point?
Of course.
This is exactly what I was reading a few days ago. There was a paper saying proving that AI actually can be racist, can have racism.
Yeah, I saw that paper as well.
So,
just the other day.
it actually proved it gave the algorithm some sort of, it said criminal. So the output black, with no low economy level and so on. So it is huge. Again, it is a huge subject with ethics and racism.
Yes, because at the end of the day, it's based on data that's given to it by humans, and you know the way things are in our world.
But this reminded me of a real story in the 80s when I was in Chicago. There was a guy who was dressed like in a suit with a tie, looked like a lawyer, let's say, professional, with a hard case in his hand, and he was at the entrance of the train station, with different train stations, and he was saying to the people, I forgot my wallet at home, can you give me €1 to take the train? But he looked so professional that you believe him, so people would give him the euro. So he was making €100 per day from a different train station every morning until they discovered what he was doing.
The art of manipulation.
It's a difference. There was another case of, I can register a phone to the telephone company. So when you call me, you pay. And I can say €3 per minute. So I look professional. I go to a shop. I make a phone call. I forgot my mobile at home. I look professional. Oh yeah, we use my phone. I call the number, 2 minutes, €6, right? Go to the next shop, I do that. So there was one real story on this, that someone was making money by doing this. There are many ways.
Yes, of course.
And looking professional, you can do a crime easier than looking like a homeless.
Plus, it's the mortality of health. It's another huge thing because they say that if there's an accident and there are a lot of people going, it's easier to help. But if there's only one, it's proof that they cannot help them. They're not going to help. And this is another aspect of introducing behavioral data inside these algorithms.
Yes, so I'm not going to play this video because I'm pretty sure most of you are already hungry thinking about lunch. So not gonna waste time with videos, just gonna explain what this video is about. So this video is essentially the opposite of the previous video, where on the previous video they reviewed footage and they took looks at historical footage. So they analyzed events that had already occurred. And in here, this is actually a video in which you can see a drone taking action in real time. So there is a fence and there's a criminal going to the fence trying to break in some sort of facility, and the drone immediately reacts to this action and flies to the location, which automatically scares off the thief or the burglar or the criminal, essentially. Even though it is not quite clear what the legal actions should be in such a scenario and what actions the drone might do until the police department comes at the spot, for example. So there are also quite a lot of other applications for the Internet of Things and AI in the Internet of Things. You can see here that a company called Robotics is developing a technology which uses artificial intelligence that has the ability to analyze road imagery. So this could be very useful for citizens and to understand where repairs in the city need to take place. For example, in different areas, different roads, there are sensors that are analyzing footage real time, and of course they're communicating to a machine, which is then read by a human, that some action needs to be taken for a repair, for example. Smart cities that are innovating with AI technology are able to predict the future needs of people, which is also a very good way to use the Internet of Things. And also, here is a video of that thing, but as I said, I'm not going to play this video. There are, I think, quite a lot of other things to discuss before any video is played. So, here you can see that the Internet of Things is also useful for predicting pollutants and pollution when it is taking place. This type of technology allows authorities to make decisions in advance, and this can result in reducing the effects of any pollutants or any pollution, which basically improves the lives of people near any area that's prone to pollution. Plate recognition technology is very useful as well because car parks are able to detect cars that have outstayed hours, and actually here in Bulgaria even, this technology is implemented in the malls of parkings, in the parkings of malls, for example, where once you outstay your 3 hours, the system automatically recognizes your number and it tells you that you have to go to the machine and pay the fee that you owe the mall. So this is a really good example of an AI which actually maybe sacked a person from their job, but it is essentially very, very useful. So this is the video of the same thing. Public transportation can also benefit from AI and the Internet of Things because public transportation is sometimes very irregular in cities like Sofia that are very high on traffic jams, for example. AI can be used to tell passengers when to expect a bus, whether to wait for a bus, whether to go to a different station, for example, and take another route, and so on. So there's quite a lot of things that can be done for public transportation and AI. And actually there are apps already that use this technology, like Move It, for example. And smart cities are beginning to use artificial intelligence for everything, for absolutely anything that you can imagine. For example, a city built by Toyota, which is it's just a project now, but they're using AI for recycling, they're using footage, they're using cameras for anything that the person might need, and they're being tracked all of the time in order to improve the quality of their everyday life, their work, and so on. And even though it's still a project, it is sort of in the making. So we might hear of something like this in the future, where volunteers are needed to be living in a city where they're where footage of them is taken every second and they're being tracked in real time. This is a video about recycling using AI, which is also very useful because such factories, recycling factories, are very hazardous to humans, and the less humans that work there, the better, the fewer humans. This is once again for the transportation industry and for smart cities. Of course, smart cities can be a major thing in the future. This is a video about the city that Toyota is building. And this is pretty much a wrap up on the Internet of Things. And now I want to say a couple of things about artificial intelligence in medicine. So artificial intelligence can be used in medicine in various ways. For example, in drug design, taking data from drugs that have already proven to be quite useful to humans to heal any disease, and analyzing that data and creating new drugs with common structures that can benefit certain diseases, organs, whatever. Of course, it can also be useful for chemical synthesis. Artificial intelligence can predict the yields or how much product you're going to get in a certain chemical reaction, which is very, it has quite a lot to do with financing the production of different drugs. Artificial intelligence can also tell you quite a lot about the mechanisms of reaction, the synthetic routes, and so on. Of course, one of AI's purposes is to predict stuff. And in medicine, it can predict the bioactivity of a certain drug, its toxicity to human cells, and its physical chemical properties, all of which are very important for any drug that's going on the market for any purpose, really. For the person that's not a medical professional, not a chemist, not a pharmacist, there are also quite a lot of benefits in terms of AI. Digital consultation, digital consulting. AI is used in web-based platforms for patients with ill children. They go on the web, they're asked a couple of questions, and the AI determines whether their child needs to see a doctor, whether their child is ill, and so on. Of course, it can also be used by medical professionals for analysis of patient medical records and tell not only to a child, but to a grown person whether they should see a doctor. It's also useful for clinical trial research. You know that once, for example, the COVID vaccines, let's say, there were quite a lot of trials there, and they were, so to say, in situ. They were going on these trials while the world was in a lockdown. So all of this had to be done in a digital way, and AI can really help decrease the number of operations done by humans in clinical trial research. AI can also be used for disease diagnostics, starting with the patient medical records being processed by AI, then moving on to the results of that processing, pre-processing and processing, telling a medical doctor which organs are at risk and what disease risk there is, which really helps the medical doctor give the proper diagnosis to any patient. And actually there's quite a lot of research on that topic, and it turns out that AI can actually give you a much more accurate diagnosis sometimes than a medical professional, because it takes into account more things than a medical professional can in some cases. Health monitoring is also something that uses artificial intelligence, and I'm sure that some of you probably have a smartwatch or have such an app on your phone. There are apps that monitor heart rate, your sleeping schedule, all of these things that actually can be analyzed by an artificial intelligence, and then they can give you results, they can give you actually advice on your way of living, on your everyday life. There are also applications for Siri, Cortana, Google Now, which have to do with mental health. For example, if a person asks Siri, which is the digital assistant of Apple, about something that's kind of suspicious, for example, if they ask about harming themselves, a person asks Siri about harming themselves, then Siri will report this to Apple, that this person might be in need of psychological assistance, and of course action can be taken further from that. And there's also patient activity tracking system for remote patient monitoring when for some reason the patient cannot be at the hospital. Medical treatment is also a major use of AI. There are apps that monitor drug intake, and they can alert when you have taken too much of a certain drug or when you've forgotten to do that. There are prescription reminders, even though this is not really AI. A prescription reminder is just a reminder. But it can also be implemented in artificial intelligence analysis of that. The Netherlands uses artificial intelligence to detect mistakes in treatment and to find workflow inefficiencies, which is a very good thing they're doing. And they're doing this through artificial intelligence once again. Personalized treatment is another example of AI used in medicine. These are simple machine learning models, not simple, sorry, they're usually not simple. They're actually quite complex machine learning models that can predict the best treatment for a patient based on their medical record. And this personalized treatment is, it actually saves a lot of work for a medical professional. Of course, it is also used for surgical treatments. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with at least one of these robots. For example, the Da Vinci robot. This is an image of the Da Vinci robot. The Da Vinci robot is used for minimally invasive surgeries that are done with the smallest amount of blood being taken out of the human body. So with really small incisions, mimicking the gestures of the surgeon. So the surgeon could be in South Africa, for example, and I could be here in Bulgaria, and that surgeon could operate on me through the Da Vinci robot. This is once again artificial intelligence in use. The Mako system is used for orthopedic surgeries, and the Renaissance and Rosa robots are used for spine surgeries. Of course, another example is health plan analysis and managing medical data. And now I'm going to talk about a little bit more about the common AI applications in daily life. So, as my colleague mentioned before me, there's the possibility of using chatbots for a business, but you could also use a chatbot for if you need someone to talk to. And there's actually quite a lot of research. People are creating robots, chatbots that are that essentially act as psychologists or therapists. You need someone to talk to, and you open an AI, which is once again raises quite a lot of questions, but sometimes it could prove to be quite useful. And here I've given you an example of chatbot called Chai, which is a combination of chat plus AI. And it is a free online chatbot that you can talk to. Most of the chatbots used for businesses, for example, only remember the previous 2 or 3 messages that you send them, but Chai is actually aware of your whole conversation, which means that the algorithm, the machine learning algorithm behind it is really quite complex. And I've tried to outwit the code by typing in confusing messages, and it has, of course, you can outwit a bot by typing in confusing messages. But the thing that's weird about it is that it's aware of the fact that you're trying to confuse the bot. So Chai is actually a really good example of such a chatbot. Food delivery apps also use artificial intelligence. Here in Bulgaria, they're called Takeaway or Glovo, the two major ones. Maybe they have different names in your countries, but essentially they use the same artificial intelligence user experience, and they also use the same algorithms. They use artificial intelligence to automatically show you the restaurants near your location, whether they're open, whether you'll like them based on your previous orders. If you, for example, prefer Chinese food and you order Chinese food nonstop, these apps might recommend another Chinese restaurant and then another one. And once you go to a different location, they will automatically recommend Chinese restaurants. They're used by the companies to predict food trends, which can then be useful to restaurants when they're changing their menus and so on. Yeah, this is actually here, this whole slide is actually an exercise that I think might be useful for teachers and students who wish to understand the algorithms behind a food delivery app better. And you can see here that this is a pretty straightforward exercise. Imagine it's a Saturday night and you don't feel like going out or cooking at home, but you're starting basically using the app and trying to figure out what, on each and every step, what AI algorithm is being used so that you, you understand how it works better. YouTube suggestions, and not only YouTube suggestions, also Spotify, Netflix, Amazon suggestions, they all use some type of artificial intelligence to recommend you ever newer items that you might be interested in, so that they keep you interested in their brand, so that they keep making you spend more and more on their platforms. So in terms of YouTube suggestions, the time spent watching a video matters. This is actually a rather new deep learning technique, which is used to figure out whether a video is up to par with the taste of a certain user. And so the deep learning algorithm in this case takes into account how much time you spent watching a video so that it can make better suggestions for a next video. And of course, here the algorithm actually uses your watch history, uses your search history, and uses everything it knows about you, your age, your sex, your location, and so on. So yeah, once again, these are just some platforms that use similar algorithms, but really quite a lot of companies use similar algorithms. And I tried a little experiment here. I opened a video on a channel I like, on a YouTube channel that I like. And this is the first video that I watched. Is civilization on the brink of collapse? I watched the whole video, and then the next video that automatically started playing was a video about why we should not look for aliens. So apparently the algorithm understood that I was currently interested in probably physics, probably something about the apocalypse, something like that. And it tried to soothe my fears with a video of the same channel telling me that we should not be looking for aliens. The next video that was made automatically after the second one was True Limits of Humanity. And then, and the third video was also by the same channel. Maybe some of you know it. It's a channel for making science videos with really picturesque animations. And then after that, I was sent to a string theory video, which means that after, what, half an hour of watching things related to physics and space, I'm certainly probably want to watch a video about string theory, which is advanced physics. So this is a way to understand how YouTube suggestions work, and also a way to present this to students and to teachers. I think that's the final thing. Yes, So Google Translate also uses artificial intelligence to translate images in real time. For example, if you open your camera using Google Translate and you point it somewhere where there's a foreign text in Bulgarian, because probably none of you speak Bulgarian currently, Google will provide you with a translation, a direct translation on your camera, as though the text was written in your language. And here I actually tried to, I have a friend who studies in Japan, and I asked him to write down a piece of text. So I think this is also a good exercise. I think it says something like artificial intelligence is not scary, and it is quite useful, something like that. Should pop up here if you were to use the Google algorithm and translate this text. And I think that it's exercises like these that really can spark up an interest in both teachers and students, because it's a really good way to understand how artificial intelligence can impact our lives and how it can impact teaching and how we can use it and when not to abuse it, sort of. These are some of our sources, and that's it. So if you have any questions.
I think the Internet of Things is a separate technology, quite different from AI. But these both technologies can be combined to build so-called cyber-physical systems. And the principles of the Internet of Things are different from
They are different, but essentially they both use algorithms. They learn through data. They use the Internet of Things uses sensors to take data from the environment and then uses it to give a certain prediction or alert for something.
I think it's better to think of, say, about artificial intelligence enhanced by Internet of Things, by big data,
yes,
and so on.
Yes, yes, I understand very well.
Other questions or comments?
I want to ask you something. What do you think about in 10 years time will be the new life in artificial intelligence? What you will explain to if somebody will ask a young person?
Can you please elaborate on that question? Because
so what will be the daily life impact of artificial intelligence in 20 years time? 20 years.
That's
it's a kind of a, let's say, predictions.
No more artificial intelligence.
No more cheating.
In my opinion, it's very.
No, this is in the younger generation mind always.
Mm-hmm. In my opinion, it's very, very debatable and very uncertain what the impact is going to be in another 10 or 20 years. And I say this not because it's an easy way out of the question, but because it really depends whether artificial intelligence gets more and more politicized or not, whether it gets more censored or not. It really depends on the humans and the way that humans are using it and optimizing it for any usage, really. So it could go either one of two ways. It could either sort of control us or be used to control humans, regular humans that are not blessed with being in somewhere on the top of the hierarchy. This is the pessimistic scenario, in my opinion. And the other way, positive scenario is where it's used to just make our lives easier, without it being so ubiquitous, without making people feel insecure about every action that they take. These are the two sort of borderline scenarios, and it really depends on us to figure out which one it's going to be.
Thank you. Yes.
More or less, probably like the legal systems are designed to make sure you don't find easily an innocent person guilty, but you want to find the guilty persons guilty. In this way, that's why we see many times guilty people found innocent because of this design. But for me, I wouldn't mind to be monitored as long as this system can prevent corruption. So if artificial intelligence can prevent corruption, especially in politicians, for me, I'm open book.
Yes.
Meaning if you are not corrupted, then you can be open book. As long as those who are corrupted can be stopped.
Yes, I absolutely
Or
agree.
exposed.
I would absolutely have the same approach if it were possible. If it could prevent corruption, why not let it? Yes, let's go to lunch.
We need first to formalize corruption, what is corruption. After that, to solve this problem.
Politicians are corrupted, it's not corrupt. Right?